The first scene features Elliot Anderson, a socially anxious, clinically depressed cybersecurity engineer by day and vigilante hacker by night. One day, he busts a coffee shop owner named Rohit Mehta, who runs a child pornography ring. Elliot claims to have hacked Rohit's network and admits to being aware of his pornography ring. After learning that Elliot has admin access to his network, Rohit, aka Ron, is worried. Elliot goes on to say that he's backed up all of the data just in case Ron deletes it and flees. He also informs Ron that he's called the police from an anonymous number. After learning all this, Ron offers him money to negotiate, but Elliot claims that he doesn't care about money and walks away. Just then, the police arrive and apprehend Ron. The next day, Elliot goes to work and meets with his coworker Angela, who is also a childhood friend. It's revealed that Angela was the one who helped him get this job. Elliot appears to have a crush on her and is therefore jealous of her boyfriend Ollie. In the next scene, we see Elliot with his therapist Krista Gordon. Elliot has also hacked Krista's personal details, so he knows she has dated many guys and is currently dating one named Michael. Krista asks him several questions to help him deal with his depression, but he doesn't share anything with her. Alienated by his peers and disconnected from modern life, Elliot medicates his pain and loneliness with high-strength morphine. He has vivid hallucinations, such as the men in black who constantly follow him. It appears that his father, the only person with whom he could connect, died of leukemia from exposure to workplace radiation, and his mother was abusive and cruel. One day, Elliot's at work when some people from a well-known tech company named E-Corp pay them a visit. Elliot's boss, Gideon, greets them and gives them a tour of the office. A few moments later, Elliot's approached by a vice president technology officer named Tyrell, who relates with Elliot as he also started his journey from Linux. After work, Elliot returns home, where he sobs for being alone. Shortly after, he learns that Michael has created his social media account, so he decides to hack it. Early next morning, Elliot approaches Michael and borrows his phone for a moment, pretending that he has to call his mother. Elliot then dials his own number to obtain Michael's phone number and then gives it back after deleting his number from Michael's phone. A short while later, Elliot receives a call from Angela, who summons him to the office because E-Corp's server has been DDoS attacked. Elliot heads to the office and inquires with his other coworker Lloyd about the situation. Lloyd claims that it's one of the worst attacks and that it won't stop despite reconfiguring and rebooting the server. Upon investigating it, Elliot discovers that the server has been attacked from multiple locations. He also suspects that it's not a DDoS attack, as there's a rootkit that can destroy the server by generating various viruses. According to Elliot, they must go offline and wipe out all the viruses before rebooting. Following this, Gideon and Elliot fly to their data center, where Elliot redirects traffic to another server and reboots the system, bringing the situation under control. Upon post-checking on the computer, Elliot finds a text file named F Society that says, "Leave me here." Seeing this, Elliot hesitates to delete the file, so he hides it on E-Corp's server, making it only accessible to himself. Later, on his way home in the subway, Elliot is approached by a man named Mr. Robot, who summons Elliot for a conversation only if he hasn't deleted the text file. Hearing this, Elliot immediately realizes that he's from F Society and follows him. Mr. Robot leads him to their workplace, but he doesn't reveal anything about the project yet. Later, Elliot returns home and attempts to learn more about F Society and Mr. Robot, but he finds nothing. The next day, Elliot again goes to meet Mr. Robot, who then reveals that he's determined to start a revolution by forcing a financial meltdown that will cancel all debt and redistribute wealth across the nation. He targeted Elliot because he has access to E-Corp, which owns 70% of the global consumer credit industry. He instructs Elliot to modify the text file and put the IP address of Terry Colby, E-Corp's arrogant CTO, so that the blame goes to him. After hearing all this, Elliot is perplexed by what he should do. The other day at work, Elliot, Angela, Gideon, Colby, Tyrell, and the FBI officers are having a meeting about a previous hack. Angela's recounting the incident when Colby abruptly removes her from the meeting. Seeing this, Elliot becomes enraged, so he replaces the file and hands it to the FBI, going against E-Corp. Unfortunately, Tyrell notices him while replacing the file. Days pass, but Elliot receives no messages from Mr. Robot. He goes to the F Society, but the place is abandoned. As a result, he believes that he's been duped. In order to divert his attention, he decides to hack Michael's account. He calls Michael, pretending to be a bank officer. He manages to retrieve Michael's personal details and learns that Michael isn't his real name. Later, Elliot approaches Michael and claims that he's aware of his secrets. Elliot then blackmails him into revealing everything to Krista and breaking up with her. He also takes Michael's dog, returns home, and transfers Michael's data on a CD and stores it in his black bag. One day at work, Elliot goes to Angela and tries to console her as she's still embarrassed about what happened in the meeting. Just then, they see the news of Colby being arrested. Seeing this, Elliot appears to be excited as he realizes Mr. Robot was right. Afterwards, a group of men approaches Elliot and drives him to an office. Upon entering, Elliot is surprised to see Tyrell and several lawyers at a round table. Tyrell is now an interim CTO of E-Corp after Colby's arrest. Tyrell offers Elliot a secret position as the head of the cybersecurity division, promising him to make him a multi-millionaire in 5 years. Tyrell also shares about F Society's bigger plans, which include blowing up a gas pipeline. After hearing this, Elliot declines the offer, but it only serves to exacerbate his paranoia and drug abuse. On the same night, Elliot decides to hack Tyrell, and for this, he first hacks E-Corp's mail server. E-Corp's server doesn't appear to have been upgraded since the attack, and it even lacks the two-step verification system, allowing Elliot to easily hack it. Upon hacking Tyrell's mail, he finds it to be very normal. Soon after, he suspects Tyrell may want him to hack his mail, causing him to panic. He then quickly unplugs his computer, destroys its hard disk, and microwaves his SIM card and memory chips. The following day at work, Gideon congratulates him on saving the company and offers him a raise. Just then, he informs Elliot of a video released by F Society, claiming responsibility for the attack. In the video, a man dressed in an aristocratic outfit and wearing a plastic mask threatens to hack again unless E-Corp complies with their demands. The man has Mr. Robot's modulated voice blaring over images of global chaos. Following this, Elliot returns home only to discover Mr. Robot's coworker named Darlene taking a shower. She takes him to their workplace where Mr. Robot's coworkers praise Elliot's previous work. A few moments later, Mr. Robot reveals the next phase of their plan: blow up a gas plant next to an off-site data storage facility for E-Corp, and once it's destroyed, the Dark Army will cover the redundant backups at their eastern data center in China. Hearing this, Elliot refuses to do so because he cannot risk the lives of innocent people. Mr. Robot tries to convince him that they're in a war and that people die in wars. Robot pushes Elliot to achieve greater things and become the man he always dreamed himself to be. Elliot is caught between the comforts of the old world, where he can maintain a sense of superiority over those who cannot see the truth, and the new world that offers change at a steep cost. Elliot chooses to stay out of it and walks away. Elliot then goes to his next-door neighbor Shayla, who also happens to be his drug dealer. Upon entering her place, he comes across a violent rapist and drug supplier named Fernando, who doesn't let him meet Shayla. Elliot appears to have already hacked Fernando and is aware of his illegal drug and gun dealings. However, he doesn't bust him because he's the one who supplies drugs to Shayla, who then gives it to Elliot. As soon as Fernando leaves, Elliot breaks into the bathroom, only to discover Shayla in the bathtub. He shakes her awake and asks that she report Fernando to the police, but Shayla refuses because he provides her a good deal on drugs. Against Shayla's explicit instructions, Elliot decides to bust Fernando and give up his regular supply of drugs. He then anonymously shares Fernando's information with the police, resulting in Fernando's arrest. On the other hand, we see Ollie inserting a CD that he received from a random stranger on the street. As soon as he does so, an unknown person named Cisco is able to hack Ollie's laptop camera. Just then, Ollie receives an email from a girl who invites him to her place. Seeing this, Ollie asks Angela's permission to leave, pretending to be going to meet a friend. In the next scene, Elliot goes to meet Robot, who only wants to talk about Elliot's father. Elliot explains that his dad was the best computer engineer at E-Corp, but they fired him shortly before he was diagnosed with leukemia. Though his father trusted 8-year-old Elliot not to tell his mother about the cancer, he did anyway. As a result, his father got enraged and pushed him away, shoving him out of a window and breaking his arm. Hearing this, Robot believes that what Elliot's father did was right, as Elliot broke his trust. Following this, Robot also pushes him off the Coney Island boardwalk onto the rocky beach below for breaching their trust. Meanwhile, Tyrell works on his pitch to be permanently promoted to CTO at E-Corp. Unfortunately, the CEO, Philip Price, claims that the board has found a good candidate and wishes to try him first. This makes Tyrell enraged, and as a result, he goes to an underpass where he beats a homeless man nearly to death after giving him $300. Tyrell's security team is resignedly watching all of this. On the other hand, Elliot wakes up in a hospital bed with bruises on his hands and face. He watches a fly buzz around his room and believes that most coders think that debugging software is about fixing a mistake. But this is not the case. The bugs come to deliver a message like an unconscious bubble floating to the surface. A few moments later, Krista and Shayla visit him at the hospital. When Krista inquires about the matter, he admits to taking drugs and promises her to stop taking them. However, Elliot, after discovering that the hospital's cybersecurity department is poorly staffed and underfunded, easily hacks and manipulates his reports. Following this, Elliot returns with Shayla to their apartment building, only to discover that Darlene has broken into his place. Holding up the busted lock, she tells Elliot that they have a lot to discuss, but Elliot asks her to leave. The next day, Elliot meets Mr. Robot in a bar and expresses his displeasure with what Mr. Robot did earlier. He also refuses to be a part of F Society, and as a result, Mr. Robot decides to leave. Before departing, Elliot inquires about the F Society's plan, to which he responds that there is no plan without Elliot. From the next day, Elliot decides to be a more social and normal person. He decides to ask Shayla out and take her to a movie date. He also decides to engage in normal activities such as going to the gym, drinking Starbucks, hearting things on Instagram, and so on. Following this, Elliot heads to the office with a drink in hand and accepts Gideon's dinner invitation for that evening. As soon as he walks out, Gideon asks his secretary if Elliot was really having a Starbucks. After work, Elliot goes to Shayla in order to ask her out, and she agrees to be his girlfriend, kissing him. Later that night, Elliot, Shayla, Angela, and Ollie arrive at Gideon's place for dinner. After some time, Angela and Elliot reminisce about how they used to run away together, impersonating Claudia Kincaid. A few moments later, Elliot receives a notification on his phone, prompting him to turn on the television. In the news, they discover that F Society's data dump has revealed the emails confirming that Evil Corp knew about their toxic waste scandal that led to the deaths of several workers, including Elliot's father and Angela's mother. After learning this, Elliot believes that Mr. Robot has finally found his bug, and as a result, he departs, followed by Angela. In the next scene, Angela discovers that Cisco has her personal information as well as her credit card number. Cisco blackmails her into infecting the network at her workplace, AllSafe. Angela also learns that it's all because of Ali, as he unnecessarily inserted the CD. When she talks with Ali about it, he comforts her by saying that they will surely figure it out. On the other hand, Elliot, who had been wavering whether to join F Society and its plan for massive wealth redistribution, is now all in. He arrives at the group's headquarters and slowly walks in as the 4 other members quickly scurry to set up his computer. He sits at his laptop, and as the group gathers around him, he says, "Here's the plan.